It's been a while since I've done one of those real talk videos, so this is what you get today. Despite the ambitious title, I mostly want to clarify certain things that I've been saying a lot lately, notably how much a live streamer should really know their audience. So what I want to do is basically talk about the mindset and the different mindsets that you might have chronologically, basically, when you're starting off and you're trying to polish your content, and then you're starting to grow your own community, and then you want to maintain that community or eventually even grow that community. So that's today's topic of discussion. I basically want to talk about all of that without a script. I just want to say what's on my mind. But right before we get into the different segments, I do want to say a huge shout out to today's sponsor, which is Own, and they have a brand new product that you might enjoy. So check out this message and I'll see you right after. And this video is sponsored by Own3dPro. Own3dPro is known to give you overlays, alerts, widgets, everything you need to start your stream, but they just came up with something pretty awesome. They just dropped a feature that allows your viewers to trigger sound alerts, but also visual alerts that will show up on your screen, not just in OBS, not just on stream, but on your whole monitor. Basically, you want to find this extension on Twitch, and the installation is pretty easy. You'll need to connect to your Own3dPro account and configure the extension from there. Add a browser source for the sound alerts, then choose if you want sound only or also the visuals. You will need to download and install the software for the visuals. It installed super fast. Now, since it's showing on your screen, if you're not using display capture, you will need to add an additional browser source link so they can see it too. All right, let's add it as a panel. Then pick the effects that you would like to make available to your viewers. You can even preview them. Drag them to extension to add them to the extension. So it'll look like this, and drag them to the bottom for channel point rewards, and it'll show up here. And if you need any help, check out the quick setup guide. So click the link in the description and set it up for your stream. All right, so in the beginning, when you're first starting as a live streamer, the first thing that you're gonna do is basically practice just going live. Basically, you're gonna open up your OBS, you're gonna click go live, and you're gonna do whatever you have to do. Those are the first steps, and there's nothing necessarily deep about it. It's just, hey, can I live stream? Oh, how is my computer handling this? It's basically testing. You might get a viewer or two, but initially they are not seeing the content that you are going to ultimately produce, because this is not the content that you're going to be making. It's the first time you're streaming, right? So I would say the mindset here is just to make sure that you have the capabilities, is to learn about your computer, but also learning a lot about yourself. Everyone handles live streaming differently. As much as I like to talk about, the positive side of live streaming, the things that makes me love live streaming, there's also a lot of downsides, and there's also a lot of people that find out that they basically do not like live streaming for many reasons. Live streaming can be the most wholesome experience that you can have. It can also be the most crushing experience that you can have, right? We do not know, as humans in society, most people do not know what it's like to broadcast supposedly to the world for hours and not have a single person show up. We don't know what that does to us. Some people are like, okay, that's fine, I'll try again tomorrow. And some people are like, I'm gonna cry myself to sleep. Since success as a live streamer, or just, having a small community, takes a long time, and as much as I say you need to learn about the audience, you need to learn about yourself first. So testing the waters, thinking about yourself and how you feel about certain things. Of course, going back to watch your VOD is going to be in the second part. That's when you would start streaming to make the content more entertaining, meaning that after testing for a while, you went back and you watched your VOD and you basically went ahead and tried to polish that content. It's never going to be perfect, but you're going to work on what you perceived as flaws in those VODs to a certain point where you're gonna gain enough confidence to say, I make decent content, at least, right? And it takes many forms, right? It's the smaller things. It's like, oh, I scream too much when I die in this video game. Or this person was my only chatter for the whole stream, and it took me a whole 5 minutes to notice that they were in chat and to answer them, so they immediately left. Things like that to basically really have an idea of what's important to you as a live streamer when it comes to your stream. A little tip that I usually slide in there is to turn off the viewer count if you can. Basically, do not look at the viewer count during the whole stream. You can watch your stats after the stream, that's fine, but during the stream, it's better to not know how many people are watching, so that in your head, you might want to imagine that, I don't know, 50 people are watching at all times. So you're putting on a show, you're being energetic, you're being hyped, and you're trying to actively entertain those people who may or may not be there, right? It's kind of like a cheat code to make the content entertaining, to make the VOD entertaining, really. But also in the off chance that a random person shows up, the stream is already being entertaining. So this will increase the chances of them wanting to engage with the stream rather than you looking at the 0 and being like that, and then they pull up and it's just you being like that. Why would they want to say hi? Why would they want to stay? Like, they're just gonna see it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds and be like, oh, this is boring, I'm gonna leave. Anyways, I don't want to spend too much time on that. There's a video on how to talk to yourself basically when you don't have any viewers. I made that video a while ago, but it still holds up. Go watch it. So the third part is what I would call streaming to create a community. A lot of streamers have that in their bios. I want to create a community, and this is the part where you have polished your content. It is not perfect. It will never be. It will always be evolving, but you have confidence within that content. At least some people might want to watch it, might want to stick around. At least you can endure watching your whole VOD without getting bored, right? This is the part where you would work on, for example, building regulars. You would do certain things to make sure that people come in and they feel welcome, depending on you, okay? I don't want to put too many rules because, you know, maybe your style is that they come in and you scream at them and you're mean to them and then they enjoy that and then they stay, right? Everyone has their own style. There are no real rules, but I just know that at this point in your development as a live streamer, this is the part where you want to build the regulars, right? This is where you're gonna shape your community. This is where you're gonna learn enough about yourself to know when to establish certain boundaries. This is where you're gonna know exactly what type of community you are building and what type of community you want to build. So it can be a community that represents your values as a person. Maybe, you know, you don't like certain jokes and you're gonna be more affirming there. You're gonna be like, hey, I appreciate you being in chat, you're a supporter, but I don't like that type of things, right? You can tell people calmly how you want the community to be, or at least how you want the vibes to be in the chat. Someone is being negative, someone is down talking another content creator, you have to cut that stuff, right? If that is your personality, you do whatever you want, but I'm just giving you examples, right? Me personally, I use the viewer game strategy in order to get a lot of people in really fast, but I had no idea of what I wanted from my community, what type of community I wanted. So I had all types of people, plus I was streaming in French. When people came in and spoke Spanish, I started speaking Spanish to them. And then of course, I would speak English at the same time. So I had this weird, very diverse type of community, but the content was a little too chaotic and I had to make a decision. I had to pick basically, okay, what language am I gonna pick and what type of community do I want to build? I started shutting down certain things and really shaping the community like exactly in the way that I want it to be. So basically, this is the part where you're gonna start having a clear idea of who you want to let in and who you don't, right? I know that streamer Twitter will not shut up about boundaries, but they have a point. They have a point. This is the part where you establish them. But that all comes from learning about yourself in the beginning, right? Allowing yourself to learn about yourself. The next step we can say is where you want to learn from your community. Imagining that at this point you have at least a small community. When I say a small community, you know, we love using the term community, but you know, you have a couple of regular viewers, right? It can be 5, it can be 4, it can be 3, but you do want to learn from them, meaning that you can run tests, you can play certain games, you can start looking at your analytics a little more closer, right? It's like, oh, when I play this game, I realize there's a dip. Everyone leaves or no one talks in chat when I do this specific activity. You can decide from that information if you want to please the current community and, you know, eventually be very open to have more people that are like that. Or, and this is very important because most streamers don't even know that, you can decide to basically replace your community. That sounds bad, but the thing is, if you feel like you made a couple of mistakes or if you feel like you're not passionate about whatever you've been building, you can always switch it up, okay? Don't be scared of losing 3 people if you think you're gonna build something with 50 people. And then on and on, right? Don't be scared of losing 50 people if you think the next thing you're gonna build is gonna give you 100. This fear of, yeah, but I have 2 regulars and I don't wanna disappoint them, when you personally feel like they're holding you back, it's bad, right? And there's a certain disconnect that kind of needs to happen when you're live streaming. And we're talking about people who are live streaming a little more professionally, people are really trying to grind and make it more than just a hobby. And that disconnect is, you need to understand that people come and people go. No matter what you do, people are gonna leave, you're gonna get unfollowed by certain people, and that's just what happens, right? If you're too attached and you're too, I don't want to use the word sensitive, but if you're too sensitive every time you lose one single follower, you're gonna have a hard time because you are going to, like, it's just a fact, you're just gonna be losing followers. at some point. It's not going to be drastic. You're not going to go to zero, but I just want to at least mentally prepare you for that. So yeah, that last part is basically from the information that you got from this small community that you have, you are going to decide what's the next step. Do I just please that small community and that's all I do? Hopefully, you know, more people will come and they'll be similar and, you know, we will expand. Or if you're going for growth, do you need to switch up your whole strategy, your whole style, everything? You need to rebrand or whatever. So this is basically what I mean when I say you need to know your audience. And of course, it's not like a beginner's tip because a beginner doesn't have an audience, but I truly believe it is the key behind avoiding this weird plateau. A lot of, including me, a lot of streamers will start their journey and then start doing something and get stuck at a certain viewer count and not be satisfied with it. If you're cool with your viewer count, you know, dismiss this whole video. There's nothing wrong with having a small community, enjoying yourself every time you go live, feeling safe within that community. That's great. But if you feel like you want to grow, sometimes you have to switch it up. Sometimes you just have to implement a strategy within what you're already doing. A palatable example of that is, for example, maybe you've been to someone's stream, right? You go to their stream, the stream is great, the streamer is amazing, and then they have an annoying mod. A mod that is obnoxious, that is talking back to people, being rude and all of that. This is a person that is not doing anything wrong when they're with their content, but they do have a mod that is hindering their growth because people don't feel welcome. One of the simplest things about growth is to just make it so that your stream feels welcoming to new people. Another example is a tip that people will give small streamers, including me, to be fair. People who are kind of shy, who don't know what to say, blah, blah, blah. They'll say, hey, get a friend to hop on the game with you, right? So now the stream is 2 people in Discord playing a game together. The problem is when someone new shows up to your stream and it's just 2 people playing in Discord and they're not paying attention to chat and they're not even looking at the camera or glimpsing or saying anything to acknowledge that they are live, and I've said that so many times, the viewer is going to feel like they're even bothering you if they talk in chat. They're gonna feel like they're spying on 2 people who are currently busy. It doesn't feel interactive. It just feels like they're watching 2 people do something. So as much as just inviting your friends so that you're talkative and you're being energetic and all that is good for the entertainment part of the stream, it is bad for the new viewers or new regulars. Now, before you get scared about that, here's how you can deal with it. You can still do it, but make sure that you acknowledge chat, even if chat is empty, right? You're playing with your friends, blah, 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 blah. From time to time, did you see that chat? Oh my God, I hope somebody clips it. Even if you know for a fact that no one is in chat, always give little hints that you are actively trying to entertain an audience, right? First of all, you shouldn't know that there's no one because you should turn off your viewer count. So that's just one of many examples of basically a streamer being in the position where they have a small community, they have their regulars, they really want to expand, but they don't know where to start. It's hard for me to do a step-by-step video on things like that because it's so general. It's really a case-by-case thing. I would have to coach you and I hate coaching. But at least I hope this video gave you enough information to think of things that you may not have thought about before. Okay, one last little anecdote before I go. I know a streamer that used to be a great streamer. They had the graphics down, they had the sound quality, they had the video quality, they had the games, they had the wholesomeness, they had the, well, wholesomeness is not a requirement, okay? But they were wholesome, they were very welcoming, and they were acknowledging everyone in chat. They were doing everything perfectly, but it wasn't a good stream. And the reason why it wasn't a good stream is because you could tell that they were so focused on being a good host and not necessarily an entertainer that it wasn't super welcoming. Like you can come in, you're gonna have, hey, how you doing in chat, blah, 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 blah. But then afterwards, it became very monotone because that streamer would react the same way to everyone in chat. That streamer would be so neutral about everything that it felt a little robotic, a little, it's like you ask ChatGPT what a good streamer would be like, right? So it was difficult for me to reach out. Well, just for me, that was my thing, right? It was difficult for me to reach out to that streamer and say, hey, here's what I think you're doing wrong. But I eventually did. The streamer didn't take it personally or anything. The streamer actually listened to the advice that I gave, where I was like, I want to know, like, you know, I want to see you happy. I want to see what makes you sad. I want to see what makes you angry. I want to see a large range of emotion. I want to see a human being, really. Maybe an exaggeration of a human being, but I want to see that. I don't want to see perfection. I don't want to see you hosting the Price is Right. I want to see you. I want to learn about you as a person. And a couple months later, they contacted me and they told me, oh my God, like this advice that you gave me just changed my stream completely. I have so much more interaction, so much more support, and so many new viewers just based on that advice that I took from you. So just to make sure you get it, there are no real rules. You know, something that doesn't work for you might work for someone else. It's all about your personality, how it matches with the content that you make, and how it matches with the audience that you want to grow, and how many of them are out there. So hopefully that explains what I mean by understanding the audience. It's not just the stats, but it's really understanding yourself, what content you want to make, and what kind of people you want to be part of your community, and how much you want to grow that community. Because if you don't want to grow it, again, that's completely fine. Thank you so much for watching me talk about this topic. This is the type of discussion that I really love to have. If you have any insights, if you have anything to say, please leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, catch me on Twitch. You know, it's the best way to communicate with me is if you're in my chat while I'm live. Oh, also, I'm currently giving away a bunch of Steam keys on Twitter, so make sure you follow me on Twitter. Check out my tweets for that. And there you go. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later. Go out there, make me proud, get level,